Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it. You already know. Like a torta with some bad habits. Bye up, bye up. Let's get to the intro. Welcome back to the channel. And if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that the gun stays kicking. And I appreciate all the support, man. I'm very humbled by it. Thank you. Couldn't do it without you, right? So we're going to keep it going right here on Gunners Collective TV, and it's going to be justice for Promise and Baby Emmanuel. And we're going to keep it going no matter what, who says anything, no matter why they say it. You know, a lot of people have fallen off from the story, and I think it's some bullshit. You know, excuse my language, earmuff it if you don't like it, but it is some bullshit. You know, we have a baby that's still missing, a baby that's deceased out there all alone, and people just moved on. That's it. Now, it's all right to tell other stories. It's all right to be involved in other things in your life and to care about everything else that's going on. No problems whatsoever. But let's not forget that there's a child in need. There's a child that was left by himself somewhere, whether he's dead or alive. That doesn't matter at this point. There is a baby out there, man. And so many people want to hear and hope, man, that we could get a good outcome to this story. Some type of outcome, man, that will have some justice involved, right? Now, I was asked a question. I did a little investigation over the weekend, man. Actually, I went out of town. I was able to pull up to a spot, man. If you watched the video yesterday, you seen there was some confrontation. There was a little bit of gas, tear gas. There was a little bit of everything, man. I got a whole lot more footage to show you guys in the next coming days. So stay aware, be on point, because I got some good videos coming up this week. But I wanted to talk about baby Emmanuel. It's his day, okay? And I'm not going to be one of those ones that just falls off and just forgets all about Mijo. That's not me, okay? What I'm going to proceed to do here is tell you guys about an interesting letter that was read to me over the weekend and tell you how it kind of cemented and concreted, boom, that this bitch Rebecca Haro is the actual one who unalived or killed, or however you want to say it, baby Emmanuel. You know, a lot of people think Jake did it because of Jake's history with child abuse. Okay, just because someone has done something in the past doesn't absolutely mean they will do it in the future. You know, sometimes they get spooked. Sometimes that time looming over their head, you know, gets them in a position where it's like, oh man, I ain't going to do that again. It's not a mistake. I don't want to use the word mistake because it'd be a mistake to use the word mistake. When Jake did what he did to his daughter Promise, okay, that ceased to become any type of mistake. That was a grown man making a decision that unfortunately ended up with his child being left blind, deaf, unable to speak, basically a vegetable. Okay, that it's horrific, you know, for any parent to do that to a child, or for any person, adult, to do anything like that to a kid. I don't see how you could live with yourself, but I guess he's living comfortably for the rest of his life in prison, hopefully. You know, October 16th is around the corner. We will see what's going to happen at court. Will they be offered deals? Quite possibly. If they are, man, we all need to grit our teeth and hope that somehow, some way, in the midst of those deals, it's thrown out that the only way that they are eligible for these type of deals is if they give us the whereabouts of baby Emmanuel. If that happens, so be it. Okay, life without the possibility, whatever the case may be, as long as we get to bring baby Emmanuel back to the people so that he gets a proper burial. You know, I've been seeing a lot going on with this memorial. There's a lot of different stories. His memorial continues to get bigger and bigger. People are leaving stuffed animals. They're leaving poems, songs, candles. I get it. But with as much work has been put into this memorial, and hey, it's a good thing. It's always a good thing to keep the memory going. That's what we're doing right here. It's also a great thing to go out there and try to find him. But law enforcement has ceased that. They've stopped. They do not want, according to them and what they're saying, they do not want the public's help. They pretty much have they could agree to the fact that he's gone, and they don't want chaos. They don't want people to taint the evidence. I think we're past the point of tainting the evidence. I was telling everyone, hey, if you find out or were able to come across baby Emmanuel in any form or fashion, to not step on the evidence, to not take the evidence, absolutely. And you shouldn't. As a fucking normal person, you should know better than to go into a crime scene like they did in Charlie Kirk's a crime scene, right, and ruin it. You definitely don't want to do that, because that only helps the defense. That only messes things up, with the court system. But I think I don't want to say we can all agree, because I'll never agree with law enforcement when it comes to stopping looking for a child. I think it should be forever forward. I think it should never stop. But they have decided to step back, so that's on them. I did a video about it. Unfortunately, they don't want the public's help. They don't want to get off their ass and do anything. It's just like baby Emmanuel is forgotten, not here. So I was contacted by someone, a family member of Rebecca. I'll say that, right? Someone who she is in correspondence with. And they had an interesting letter. Now, I asked to view the letter because, I wanted to make sure that it was on the up and up. And I was asked, just don't put their name out there. Don't show, pictures of the letter, but I could reveal its content, the context of its contents. And this right here set it in stone for me that Rebecca is about the dirtiest, fattest, lumpiest butt bitch in the world, right? She showed no emotion other than her well-being and her wanting to be released. She never once asked if they were continuing the search for her child. She never once asked, if there was any questions, going around about who could have possibly kidnapped baby Emmanuel. She never elaborated onto, her being a mother and missing her child so much that it was making her lose weight or stressing her out. In fact, in the total opposite, this woman continued into this narrative, this letter to ask, first and foremost, she asked how they were doing. She asked if they needed anything. Bitch, you can't provide nothing. Pussy shot out. It's done. Sorry. Okay? It's already done. That's all you have to offer? Shit, you can do better on Canteen. Look. She asked about this person's well-being, how they were doing. I guess it's being respectful, common courtesy, whatever, right? Now all of a sudden she has morals. Where were those morals at when you killed your son? Because I know Jake's getting a lot of the blame, and he deserves the blame. As the father, you hold it down, right? But I just see an evil in Rebecca I don't know if others see. The lost soul, the lack of emotion right there tears me up. As a parent, I don't understand, and I'm a father. Okay, fathers and mothers are a little bit different. Mothers bond with their child in the womb. Mothers are like, you want to call those are their cubs. We're talking about the mother cat, the mother lion, right? Most women and mothers will do anything and sacrifice body, mind, soul, anything, time, especially for their child. I see women getting up early in the morning, putting them dusty sweats, putting their hair up in a bun like fuck it, and walking their kids to school, cooking their kids breakfast, dinner, taking their kids showers. A lot of these things I see. A lot of these things that I see that the mothers do, the sacrifice, it makes my heart feel good to know that there's still women that love their children enough to protect them by any means. Fathers, on the other hand, we get to go to work, we get to provide for our family. That makes us feel good. And in doing so, eventually our children learn to respect us and love us for providing what we do, whether it be emotionally, however you do it, a kid will respect you eventually. Now, Rebecca has none of that. And this is what makes me believe that she killed her son. In this letter, she was asking, is there any way that she can get a lawyer? She was talking about the lawyer that was provided for her was not, in communication with her as much as she would like. Well, let me tell you something, big bitch. That's how it goes. That's how it goes when you're locked up, man. Everything slows down. Life slows down. I remember, having public defenders, and I couldn't even get a hold of them in their office. I would call their office every day for an update, and they tell me when I finally got a hold of them a month later, don't worry, we're going to go to court. It's going to be like this. It's going to be like that. And they'll write like a nothing but a G-Thang song. Then I'd go to court, and this lawyer would not look me in the eyes, and I would already know what time it was. And I don't know if any of you that have had dealt with a public defender know this, but you would go to court like I did myself and sit there, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe I got an opportunity. Maybe this lawyer is going to speak up and maybe get me out. And in fact, he asks us for a continuance for another month because he's going out of the country or on vacation or needs more time. They always need more time. The last person in that fucking courthouse that needs more time is the defendant that's doing the time, right? So every time that these lawyers stretch it out for another continuance, you don't go nowhere. You continue to do time. Now, in this letter, she asked about a lawyer. Never once did she ask about, if Emmanuel, if they were out there looking for him, if they had heard any news. In fact, she asked about Jake. If I don't want to say the person, if it's a man or a woman, but if they had heard from Jake, if they had seen what's going on, what is going on in social media, what are people saying? It's a lie. She wasn't involved in anything. She doesn't know anything. Never once say my son, fuck all that. Saying I'm dying in here without my kid. I'm in emotional distress. None of that. It was all just me, 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 me. And that right there shows me a soulless person. This is what I think went down. Now, this is just my perspective. Okay. I've been around families like the Haro family. The meth smoking, the junkies, the lazy men that won't get off their ass. They're constantly scamming, or they'll go work for just a little while. The women that are scamming with their boyfriends and their husbands, going to get financial aid, but never going to college really. The ones that are doing welfare fraud and just these different things to keep this man happy for whatever reason, because they're in love with the pipa, right? And the people constantly in and out of your house, man. I have a firm rule in my home, man. I don't like people in and out of my home because that's my children's home. That's not my home. I just fucking live there. That is my children's home. I have provided that home for my children. So I want that house to be clean. I want that house to be up to par. I don't want people tramping in and out of my house around my children that I don't really know their whole background, right? But it's hard to say that with this Haro family when the fucking father of the family has the worst record of them all, right? He's a fucking accused and verified child abuser. And so everyone in this house are dirtbags for the frequently in and out. His sister for living with them. Look, I would even, I don't want to disrespect his brother at any point. And I don't know how much his brother knew about his brothers, about Jake's fucking case with Promise. But even moving in there, man, if I have a family member, if I'm homeless on the streets with nothing, and I have a fucking family member that has a big home, a nice home, or whatever type of home, but I know that he's a chiruhu, chomo, child abuser, weird motherfucker, guess what? I'm going to be eating fucking cans out of the garbage can on the side of that road, because there's no way I'm going to go into that home. And it's not just my morals and my values as a man. I don't know what I'm going to do to that motherfucker when I wake up and I look at him. Right. It's just not, it's unacceptable. It's not even a road I want to go down. But that's me personally. There's a lot of men that feel the exact same way, and women. And then there's a lot of people that just don't give a fuck. They'll sit here, rant and rave and yell and talk about having morals and how they feel and baby Emmanuel and this and that. And they're gaining attention. They're gaining money. They're gaining. But in all reality, they could give a fuck less. The moment that the money stops, the moment that the clout stops, the moment that the views stop, the moment that the attention stops, they stop and they push on. And then you'll see them later on, I promise, in different videos talking about shit. And they'll say something that'll make you wonder, like, man, you're saying the total opposite of what you were saying back then. Well, that's because they were never saying the total opposite. They were fooling you. Now, Rebecca did mention, okay, at some point in the letter, that she was being assaulted on different occasions. Now, I don't know if that's true. I know the one that I could verify and say is facts, that she got assaulted 3 days after she got in the county, or I think it was 4 days in the pill line. That's a fact. The continual assault, I don't know. And why are you snitching for anyways, Rebecca, you fat bitch? Listen here, lumpy butt. You don't write letters or go on the phone and talk about, they're beating, Ola's in here. I think Ola's in here. No, Ola's not in there. Nor is Ola out there with baby Emmanuel. Ola is right now watching a Canelo fight all sick because Canelo's arm's broken. Canelo got his ass whooped. That's what Ola is doing. Okay, there is no fucking Ola. We can't even say that word. She tainted it. We can't even say the word anymore. Hey, I was downtown Portland, okay? I went downtown Portland to the ICE detention center, man, and there was a Mexicana there, an older lady. And, I was talking to everybody. I was trying to interact. And I seen this car that was parked there, had a Mexican flag on it. They were representing the raza, so I had to pull up on them like, hey, how you doing? I did not film that part because I didn't want to, I'm saying? It was the people. It was the people. It was more personal to me. I'm saying? It's always more personal to me, right? And so I walked up on them and I'm like, I was talking to this Vato and it was, I think his grandmother or his mother, whoever. She was an older woman. And first thing she says is, hola, and I almost threw up. Like, you can't say that word no more. Fucking lumpy butt ruined it for us. Richueca. Anyways, this is what I think happened. I believe Rebecca is so sprung on Jake. She was willing to do anything to make him happy. I believe at some point, baby Emmanuel was going through a form of abuse called baby shaken syndrome. You could tell by the way his cranial structure looked in the pictures. You could tell by his eyes. Pobrecito, man, he was crying a lot, right? And damn, it's fucked up, man. And you could tell that he was going through some emotional abuse as a child, probably scared hearing these people yell and scream, and they're staying up at all hours of the night, and there's people coming in and out of the room in the house, and I'm sure it was a dirty fucking home too. Lumpy Butt doesn't look like she can clean at all, right? She just looks like she smells. Have you ever met a woman or a man like that takes a shower and then it looks like they still need one? You know what I'm talking about? Like, you pull up on a chick and you're like, hey, are you going to shower or what before we jump? She's like, I already did. Bitch, you already did. You know what I'm saying? Two, right? You're like, what? What do you mean you already did? Your hair looks like fucking you dumped a bottle of baby oil on it. Your sobacos don't smell zestfully clean. You know what I mean? They smell, thuggish, ruggish, mean. I've been around people that have an odor, right? Rebecca just looks like she has an odor. Jake looks like he has that odor on. He's giving odor piggyback rights. His odor is giving other odor piggyback rights. They just look disgusting. They're disgusting people. The hills have eyes. That's what I call disgusting people. The hills have eyes. But I believe Rebecca, because this baby had, and I don't want to say this baby. I want to say baby Emmanuel, right? Let me get it correct because he is human. He does have a spot in my heart and a lot of yours that are watching this. Because baby Emmanuel was becoming what they considered a burden or a nuisance, which a baby can never be that. If a baby cries, you feed him or you change him or you clean him or you deal with it. It's your child, man. I love to hear my children cry or scream or yell or bite or fight. I love anything they do. When my daughters it's funny, when my daughters throw a fit, I just laugh. They're like, you don't even care. I do. It's just, I love it. I love it when you guys, I made you. It's cool, right? But they should have been like that. But instead, he became a burden. And I believe because Jake has no emotion. He shows no emotion. He could give a fuck less about a kid. He's so selfish. And that's what it all comes down to, selfish people. He's such a selfish person, like he was with Promise. And he's so selfish with all these kids that he doesn't have, that he's given away. And Rebecca's given away all her children, right? He's so selfish that when this baby would cry, she felt like she had to do something to stop it so Jakey the Snakey wouldn't get upset because he's a woman abuser. He would beat her. He was on drugs. Things would get reckless in that home. And so I believe she, in a fit of rage, did something to baby Emmanuel physically. And then that was it. All hell broke loose. Jake beat her up. That's why she had the black eyes and the bruises all over. And they needed to cover it up. And they came up with the stupid Ola story because Rebecca had seen some shit on Netflix because they like to Netflix, smoke meth, and chill. Imagine how her butt smelled in the morning. Anyways, I digress. This is the types of things that I think about. This is just my perspective. Now, I could be totally off base. But I believe, by the way Rebecca wrote that letter with no emotion, with only caring about herself, with being selfish, that shows me the type of individual she really is. She doesn't care about that child. I feel like she doesn't care because she's not going to deal with, the actual realization of what she did. Meanwhile, Jake is sitting there in county. Now, she's doubling down and tripling down. I didn't do this. I didn't do this. I'm innocent. I'm innocent. Never once did she. And Jake's a good guy. He didn't do it. She even said, me and Jake are being set up. Set up for what, bitch? You're the one that called about Big Five Sporting Goods. No one's setting her up. No one's setting Jake up. The only one here that's a victim is baby Emmanuel, not some fat lumpy butt bitch and her stupid ass Star Wars fucking watching boyfriend. They are not victims. I hate when people play the victim role, especially when children are involved. Man, I didn't even mean to do it, man. It was an accident. Ain't no fucking accident. No fucking Italians in East Los. Ain't no fucking accident. There's never an accident with the child. Okay? You have to make a conscious decision as a grown adult how you deal with that child. But anytime you get physical or in a fit of rage, man, take a walk. Don't be right there with that child. You're a trip. Anyways, man, I believe Rebecca did it. You could challenge me on this. We could have some dialogue, some back and forth if you think Jake did it or Rebecca did it. So that's the question. We know baby Emmanuel's dead at this point. Okay, we know this. We know these are both monsters, and they both concocted this story because, Jake, we were at the football game. They were never at that fucking football game. And then you got Rebecca lying. Oh, Ola knocked me out. Did he bone you first? Because if he did, his dick stinks. I guarantee. Anyways, all I got to say, let me know in the comments. Do you believe Jake did it? Are you team Jake did it? Or are you team Rebecca did it? I'm first and foremost, I think Rebecca did it. Even though Jake has priors, I think that stupid bitch would do anything. She asked about 3 or 4 times in that letter, which I need to read that again, right? She asked about 3 or 4 times in that letter. Facts. Is Jake doing all right? Have you heard from Jake? Has he reached out to you? Did he say anything? Have they offered him any type of deals? Bitch, why are you worried about offering deals? Where's your son? When are you going to say, are they looking for my son? Are they looking for my son? Come on, man. Stop it. With that being said, man, thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in, and that's the betterment of all people, man. This video right here is being sponsored by Barrio Liquors in the Central Valley Turlock. If you're ever in the area, stop in, man, and go get you something nice and cold, right? Don't get you nothing like Rebecca, because that's going to leave you sour, milk mouth, stale. I promise. I bet you Hershey stinks.